Hey guys, so glad to see all of you in the room today already. I always love that when we can chat like right before the actual chat starts. I got a lot of mixed reviews about last night's episode from talking to some of you guys on Twitter, and I want to know what you guys thought about it, but there are some things that I also want to talk about because I feel like even though we didn't get like concrete answers last night, I feel like we did get some more clues, and I feel like every episode this season we're getting more and more clues this season, so I feel like we are going to get some answers, or we'll just be able to put all these clues together and then get real answers. So hopefully you guys can see me now. We always have a little issue where some people can't see me, and if you can't see me, try to hit refresh or hit pause, then play. Thank you guys for helping those of you who cannot see me. So yay, it looks like it's working for everyone now. So let's just start out with, is a girl? Is a girl? What do I feel about this? I feel like no, that A is not a girl. I think the person that Clark captured in that picture, I think that's a helper of A. That's my opinion. I still think A is a guy. What do you think about that? Was that A in the picture? Is A dressing like a girl? Is A girl? What's up with that? And while we're on this thing, they found the files of Charles from Radley, and this is kind of along the same lines here, and it turns out from those files that he was dead and all his organs were donated. So is Charles dead? Is Charles alive? So the two big questions we have right now for this chat is A girl? Is Charles dead? I also think my answer to is Charles dead, I think no. I think that someone tampered with the files. I think Mrs. D probably did because, as we all know, she was on the board at Radley, so I think she wanted to make it look like he died, just like she put up the grave, right? Okay. So Hannah's asking if the picture had long hair. You could not see the hair of the person. You just saw what looked like boobs, so that's why Aria thought it was a girl. Kieran thinks that A is a girl, okay. Kelly thinks that it was Cece, but doesn't think she was Charles. I definitely think Cece is a major player in all of this and working through the A team. My first thought was that it was Cece. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, but I do not think that Cece is pretending to be Charles or that Cece is Uber A. Megan doesn't think that Big A is a girl. She thinks that Clark caught a picture of Uber A. But is Uber A the main A, correct? So Big A would be underneath him. So I think that Uber A is a guy, unless I have that wrong. Ellie does not think that A is a guy. Okay, why is that, Ellie? Cutie Pie thinks that A was a helper, which is what I think. Amir, or I think that's, I'm saying your name right, Amir thinks that Leslie Stone was the one caught in the pic. So we learn about Leslie in this episode. We learn that she is super shady, which I don't think that was a surprise to anyone, but the big piece of information we learned is that she was a patient at Radley, so she's connected to everything, and I think somebody said in one of the episodes that Radley is like the center of everything. It's connected to everything, and that's, I think, going to be more and more true as we watch more episodes. Ellie thinks that the hoodie could have been Sarah because she's shady. She's definitely shady. When she saw the text that, you know, Aria sent that said A is a girl, she seemed to really freak out, like she already knew that this person was a girl, or maybe it was her, and she was like, oh my gosh, they figured it out or something. So I think that was strange. You know, I think that made her look guilty. Hey, Allie, thanks for joining us tonight. So Ingrid, yeah, Leslie was roommates with Bethany and Radley, which, you know, like I said, it's all tied together. Yet we still don't know who Bethany is. Do you guys still think Bethany is Sarah? I'm starting to lean toward that, honestly. Rail, I know I'm gonna say your name wrong. Railia, I know that's not right. Is late, but that's okay. I'm glad you're still here. Tell me how to say your name again. I'm terrible with that. I'm so sorry. Yes, as Kelly says, Radley is the key to everything, and she does not trust Sarah. These comments are going really fast, so if I skip over you, it's totally not on purpose. And if you really want me to see your comment and address it, just keep saying the same thing until I mention it, because I'm not trying to ignore anyone. They just go really fast. So, what about Charles? I know a lot of you are, yeah, some of you are still commenting on about Charles, if he's alive or dead, or we don't even know if he's a he at this point, but I think it's a he. Allie hopes that Charles is alive. Ellie says thinking that Charles is A, but not the one in total charge of everything. Okay. Molly says Leslie is shady AF. Totally. Molly's saying that Mona was taking orders from Leslie, so she has to have a bigger part in the story. So yes, at the end of the episode, we see that Leslie is totally freaking out on Mona because the girls have found out that Leslie was a patient at Radley. Mona was not supposed to let them find out. I have always thought that Mona was shady. I still feel like she is working for the A-team, but what I can't figure out is if she's being forced to work for the A-team because they have some sort of dirt on her, or if she willingly is part of it. I kind of feel like she's being forced, but I don't know. Rulia, is that right? Thank you. Because when I see it, I don't see that. But Rulia, I'll try to get it right. Ruliu. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I want to get it right. That's really important to me to get people's names right. So Tara says that she thinks Mrs. D tampered with the files again because she was on the board of Radley, just kind of what I said there. And she could have messed with the files. I totally agree with you. I totally think that's what happened. Amy says she thinks Mona wanted the girls to know that Leslie went to Radley. Okay, that's a good point because, I mean, honestly, she was in Radley when Hannah and Spencer were in there, and she was making a lot of noise. So we didn't realize maybe that she was trying to make noise. She was trying to get caught, and then she was going to be like to Leslie, oh my gosh, like they found out, and, you know, they found me, and it's not my fault. Allie wants to know what happened to Meredith. I don't know. We could list, like I've said before in other live chats, we could make like a really long list of what happened to fill-in-the-blank PLL character, and I would not have an answer for any of those because I have no idea where people go forever. And some of them I don't know if we'll ever see again. So it's crazy. Emma says she feels like A is using vulnerable people to do his crazy business. Totally. I mean, you know that he has always like preyed upon people who were weak and pointed out their insecurities. Like he really used to mess with Hannah about the fact that she used to be overweight and Mona about the fact that she used to be a nerd. So he definitely plays on that. Amir says the A-team started in Radley with Charles, Mona, Bethany, and Leslie. Okay, I really like that thought. They had a lot of time, obviously, to sit around and plot something like this, so I think that's a great idea. Abigail says Meredith went crazy when she drugged down Aria with the tea. Yes, I remember that. I mean, I think Meredith is completely insane, but I just don't really remember them saying where she went, and I don't know, you know, if we'll ever see her again, if her storyline is over. I really don't know. Kelly thinks that Mrs. D did everything she could to hide Charles, so he's probably alive. That's what I think. I mean, I think that the grave was totally fake, and I think the paperwork about his organs being donated and all that was also totally fake. So Karen says she thinks Mona's not being forced because when Leslie was shouting at her, the expression on her face was like she didn't care. She feels like if she was being controlled, then she would have been worried. Yeah, you're right. You know, that's a good point. And she kind of smirked when Leslie was freaking out. Or she may be working with them and they think she wants to work with them, but she's playing them. Maybe that's kind of what you're saying, but I can totally see that. Hannah doesn't think Ezra is A because he has no connection to Radley. Well, we don't know that he has no connection to Radley. He may, and we just don't know it yet. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know. I'll try to get your name right. Ruliu. Maybe that's right. I don't know. I'm trying. I hope that counts for something. Karen says, definitely don't think that Mona was putting a letter in Allie's mailbox. Yes, I totally don't think that. I don't know what she was doing. Maybe she was trying to steal mail or who knows, because she is crazy. Alicia says Mona knows something. She came back and she's acting all shady. Absolutely. I mean, I've never believed that Mona was innocent. And I think, you know, last night's episode just kind of confirms the fact that she's definitely doing something. And it's probably not because she's being forced. But I'll try to give her the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, maybe she's being forced to do this stuff. I don't know. Kelly says that Meredith has always been suspect to her, and she could see her working with Byron. Could definitely see that. Byron has always been super, super shady to me. I've always kind of thought he was involved, like, out of all the parents, well, I guess except for Mrs. D, because we all know she was crazy and shady, but Byron just seemed totally guilty all the time. Molly says if she were Spencer, she would have totally looked at what Mona put in Allie's mailbox. I mean, she did dig through trash. That is true, Molly, but honestly, I feel like people, or at least the liars, are feeling sorry for Mona now because they feel like, you know, someone tried to kill her and she was in the dollhouse forever. And I think they're kind of, I feel like they're kind of on Team Mona, but at the same time, when they found her in Radley, they seemed really angry with her. So I don't know. I think they go back and forth. Ingrid says when Hannah and Spencer were in the basement of Radley, they said only staff are allowed down in the basement of Bradley, which would be Bryn. Yes. I mean, I still feel strongly that the big A or Uber A or whatever has to either be Ren or Ezra because, I mean, those two are the only ones whose age would match up with being like a year older than Jason. So I'm still going to go with that. And that makes Ren look a little guilty, and a lot of things make Ren look guilty, so I'm with you there. Okay. Mona definitely knew what Spencer was talking about, says Molly, and when she was describing her dream, she had a look after Spencer walked away. Very good. Yes. Completely. Yes, I completely remember that, and you're totally right. Hannah says, what was up with Mona and the sunglasses? Was she trying to hide from someone? And I think a lot of you felt the same way, but I totally got Jenna vibes from the promo from last week. I was like, oh my gosh, Jenna's coming back. And then you guys were like, no, that's Mona. I don't know what her deal was. I mean, she was wearing them indoors, and it was just ridiculous for her to be wearing them, in my opinion. Megan loved Allison and Lorenzo's kissing scene. Yeah, I mean, I think he seems like a sweet guy, but what I will say about that is he's a new character, just like Clark, and I don't know what the point of Lorenzo is. The only thing I can think of is maybe they're going to make him, like, a serious boyfriend for Allie. So, like, after this show ends, like, near the end, you know, they could be like, she's happy with Lorenzo and they're engaged or whatever because they're going to be older. But right now, I'm just kind of like, I don't see his point. That's all. So, yeah, Papa went crazy after that kiss, says Abigail. That was Papa D. He was really creepy. Yeah, I mean, Mr. D was, like, ridiculously controlling, paranoid, freaking out, just being crazy about Allie and, like, you know, not wanting her to leave the house. And he definitely didn't want her to have anything to do with Lorenzo, so I don't know if he's just being an overprotective parent because she's been through a lot of stuff, or if there's more to that. There's probably more to that. Allie wants to know what was in the bathtub again. Totally skipped that part. So it was like a resuscitation doll, like something that you practice CPR on. But I think the significance of that doll being in a bathtub full of water was to remind us of Charles, who almost drowned Allie in a bathtub when she was a baby. That's what I think. Tara wanted to know where Toby was in this episode. I guess he was busy at the police station, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see him next week. Abigail says they're going to find out that they are chipped, and it won't be next week. Oh my gosh, we have to wait 2 weeks. July 14th, I think, which is really depressing. But yes, they're going to find out that they are chipped, which is going to make them furious, obviously. I mean, I would be completely freaking out and so mad. Charles is one sick person, all right? So Hannah says that Mr. D probably knows Charles is alive because he's cray. I have gone back and forth about this, if he was, like, lying to Allie and Jason, or if he just believed whatever Mrs. D told him, but something tells me he's, like, smarter than that, and I kind of feel like he knows that he's alive, but I don't know. Kelly says he's been super creepy since Allie returned. Okay, let's see if we can get this right. Not an ooh and so on which part? The ya part? Rulia? Is that right? Rulia? Hopefully. Emma says maybe Mr. D knows Charles is alive and won't like Allie to have a relationship because Charles is so obsessed with Allie. Possibly, yeah. I mean, maybe in his weird, controlling way, he's trying to protect Allie and make her, you're right, that can make Charles, for some reason, because he doesn't think logically, angry that she's got a man and he might try to kill Lorenzo or something. I don't know. Allie says she likes Lorenzo and Clark, but whoever knows on this show. Right. I never think, like, when there's, like, a new love interest, I'm kind of like, well, how long is it going to be before this person disappears and you have no idea where they go? I mean, that seems to happen all the time. So you can't really get too invested in anybody's, you can't really ship anyone too hard, except for, I guess, like, Toby and Spencer and people like that, Caleb and Hannah. Because most of the time, the people, if they're just, like, a secondary character, they just leave. Ellie says, the love interests, particularly the new ones, are bugging me. This is supposed to be the season of answers, not new love interests. Yeah, and I saw a lot of those comments actually on Twitter last night that people were just freaking tired of it. And you know what's funny is that Marlene had tweeted like 2 weeks ago that she didn't want to really get involved in shipping new people and like stuff that didn't help the storyline. But now they have this whole Lorenzo and Allie storyline, and they have this thing with Clark asking Aria out, and I'm just like, just as always, she's like always contradicting herself, and I just feel like it's totally silly. So Molly says she cannot believe that Sarah talked Emily into getting a tattoo. Me either, and I think it was bizarre that both the girls were able to get tattoos without like parental permission. because I thought you both had to be, I thought you had to be 18, but who knows what the rules are there. But I did want to mention about the tattoo that Sarah got. Was, to me, it looked totally like Tippy the bird outside of the bird cage. I felt like that was such a huge clue, unless it's just kind of a symbol of her freedom from the dollhouse. But why a bird? I mean, you know, that to me was such a clue to, like, that she knows Tippy, okay? Ellie says, wouldn't be surprised if Mr. D formed the investment firm that bought Radley. Yeah, because as you know, Radley was sold, so he could totally be one of the people behind that. Okay. It's both us, and it's an on both. I wish you could say your name for me so I could get it right. Believe me, I'm trying to get it right. I'm so sorry. Abigail says Molly, Emily was just okay. Oh, okay. So Abigail 17 and her mom would be mad. Okay. I feel like some places you're not even allowed to get a tattoo unless you're 18. Like, you can't even show up without, like, a parent and get one. But, you know, they don't really follow any kind of rules in the show. So whatever. Hey, Trey, thanks for joining us tonight. Amir says Charles dumps dolls in the tub at Radley the same way he tried to kill Allie. Yeah, I just talked about that a few minutes ago, and I definitely think that's what that reference was about. So Kelly says she thought it was really creepy when Clark admitted he knew who Arya was after she turned him down. I totally felt the same way. He said he followed her on the news, and he knew she had been trapped in the dollhouse, and he's kind of being creepy to me because he keeps taking pictures of her, but I don't really, like, is he on the A team or what? Because ridiculous, in my opinion. I mean, we don't need any more, like, new characters to be like, yeah, this is just, like, another member of the A team. I think that's completely crazy. Ellie says she hates being a buzzkill, but she's getting frustrated at PLL and the way it's going at the moment, because we're halfway through 6A and they haven't really had many answers at all, and she's worried about that. Yeah, I am so worried, but I feel like if they stick to what they've told us where they're going to unmask Charles, if we actually figure out who Charles is, and they're not tricking us this time, like, I will be happy with them. But if that's a trick, like, I'm going to be really upset because I feel like they played with our emotions, like, way too much, and I can't take much more of it. Like, they say they're going to unmask him, like, make it real, you know? So I'm with you. And like I said, like, we're getting clues. And I'm glad that we're getting clues because I feel like that's more than we've gotten in the past. But we're not getting concrete answers, so I feel you on that, and I hope that we do soon is all I have to say. Okay, Megan says she doesn't want Emily and Sarah to date because she feels like Maya is alive, and she ships Emily and Maya way more. Maya needs to come back, she says, and get back together with Emily. I know, and, like, I guess all of us have kind of thought that Maya was coming back this season. And it doesn't mean that she won't, but I'm kind of wondering, like, where she is, and really she hasn't been mentioned, so I don't know. Trey also thinks that Maya is alive. Never thought she was dead. I mean, I completely think she is, but I just don't know when we're going to see her again. So Abigail would love to watch season 3 to now and piece everything together, but she has no idea what to look for. I know, because I've, like, watched the seasons, you know, like, more than once, but I haven't watched them all lately, and I bet you would totally get some clues. But I don't know. I mean, I just feel like they do so many things to throw us off. I don't even know if you could come up with the correct answer even after all that. And I also feel like, you know, as Marlene has tweeted before, when she said that some people have figured out how everything works out, you know, how everything's going to turn out in the show, she says it's just a few people. So that makes me wonder, like, the people who we really think are A and who are involved, they're kind of obvious at this point, so are they not involved? That's kind of what I'm thinking. I can't say your name, but your last name is Blythe, and I'm so sorry because I know I'm going to butcher your first name, and I don't want to do that. But anyway, she says that Caleb is Charles because Charles put trackers in them, and Caleb put a tracker on Hannah's car. True, and I was really getting Caleb vibes last episode, and I thought that he was totally involved. But that may be a bit of a red herring because, I mean, do they really want to throw in the car? I mean, that makes it so obvious that he put a tracker on her car, and then he put trackers on the girls. It makes it really, really obvious to me. Hannah thinks Paige will come back. I mean, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, I think I heard that, and Alicia says that that is true, that she's coming back. But some people don't want her to come back. So I don't know. If she comes back, I want her to have a reason for coming back. Like, she's on the A team, or she has something to offer the show, not just because she misses Emily, you know? So Samuel says he thinks the other person in the hoodie watching A could be A or Redcoat. That's why Sarah remembered seeing her, so maybe she is just watching them for Charles, or it was Sarah in the hoodie. Yeah, okay. I definitely think that. I do not think that that was Charles or the person who's pretending to be Charles or whatever. I think it was someone helping or someone spying on A. I think that's a really good thought. You know what? Or maybe it was like Mona and she was like sent to spy or something, to spy for A, you know, because of A. Ingrid says maybe Mr. D doesn't want to believe Charles is alive. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, he seems to really, really, really dislike him, so maybe you're onto something there. Molly says that the season should be called Series of Teaser Episodes that will confuse your brain of everything you've ever known about PLL and maybe reveal who Charles is at the end. Okay. Yeah, I think you're completely right because I'm worried. I'm so worried. I want to have hope and I want to think that the episode or this season's going to be good and we are going to get real answers by the end. But I know this show and I know what it does to us all the time. So you want me to call you Lee or Leah? Either one, let me know. And I'm so sorry that I can't get your first name right. I really am sorry. I really, really am. Ingrid says maybe Mr. D doesn't want to believe. Okay, yeah, I think I said that. Maybe Mr. D doesn't want to believe Charles is alive, possibly because I think he definitely hates him. Shalisa says she doesn't think A is a girl. She thinks the person in that hoodie was a helper. I completely agree with you. Trey says, thought that Spencer moving Hannah's head in the promo was hilarious. Such a funny way to reveal that the girls had trackers put inside them. Yes, it was so funny. She was like, wait, I'm beeping, I'm beeping. So funny. Okay, Megan says there's a rumor that she heard that a lot of people are saying that Ashley Marin knew Allison was alive the whole time she was gone and that she is either Redcoat or Black Veil. Ooh, you know, I really, really, really want at least one of the girls to be involved. And, I mean, at this point, I think that it's Aria. Because, guys, I mean, she had a conversation with Clark, and she didn't even remember that conversation. I think that was a big clue from this episode. Plus, she took, like, all the pictures of the weird, creepy dolls, and she doesn't remember that. I mean, I know she was doing it this episode, and she probably remembers it, but what is up with that? So Tara says she has a feeling Mona has to work with Charles somehow because Mona was being so shady she might be a helper. Completely thinks she's helping. Just can't decide if she's doing it because she wants to or because she has to. Alicia says she heard a dark theory about the A-team and that it started in Radley because their stories are similar and maybe Mr. D was abusive. Okay, and I think Amir kind of mentioned something along those lines just a few minutes ago in the comments. So I like that. I think that that's definitely a great possibility. Hannah loves Mama Marin. I hope she is involved. Where has she been? And where has, like, Preacher or Pastor Ted been? I have missed them. Ingrid saw a Snapchat of Ashley on set with a ring. I saw that, too. And apparently, she had to take it down, like, really fast because people weren't supposed to know that she's getting engaged. So I guess she's getting engaged to Caleb, like, in the future. I don't know. We can kind of guess about what could happen here. Hey, Nad, thanks for joining us. Ellie says she thinks we can say that Leslie is clearly not A because that would be ridiculous, but the only tie-in that she can think of is that she had something to do with Toby's mother's death. Yes, it annoyed me in this episode because they're making us try to think that Leslie is A. Just a couple of episodes ago, they wanted us to believe that Andrew was A, so what that is saying is that Leslie is a red herring. Really annoying to me. I'm tired of this. I don't know. I do think she's involved somehow, but she's not A. Melanie, hey, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Trey says he feels like Monica is playing both sides. Maybe she wanted the girls to find out about Leslie being put into Radley. She didn't put up much of a fight about giving that paperwork up. Yeah, and I mean, I think Mona is probably the shadiest character on the whole show, so I could definitely see that she's playing games with everyone. Maybe she thinks she's running her own A-team, or she's trying to outsmart the people who are on the A-team, but I honestly believe that she knows who was on the A-team, and I think she knows a lot more than what she is telling everyone, basically. Megan says that Aria has been acting super shady lately, completely. Has anyone else noticed she doesn't care about finding out exactly who A is? She thinks she sent that picture to throw the girls off. Okay, so maybe. Yeah, and that's a really good point, because if she is in on it, like I kind of think, she could have had that person who looked like a girl appear there so that, there's a bug in here, I'm sorry, so that they started to think, oh my gosh, it's a girl, and they started looking at girls, and they looked at Leslie as being A, and then they totally forgot about who's actually Charles. Lee says at first she thought that Charles was in the tub thing, and it scared the crap out of me. I was honestly so scared. I thought it was a dead body. I thought it was going to be like Paige or Maya or somebody, so I'm glad it was just a doll. Samuel says, what if Leslie is being blackmailed by A or was in contact with A who told her where her file was, which is why she was mad with Mona. And he says maybe Charles is protecting her because she pushed Marion. Yes, so true. So maybe Leslie's involvement is she's being blackmailed as well, and she has things she needs to cover up, and some of that's coming to light now. Hannah doesn't think Ezra is A because they already went that route. But that's a good point, because they've never really gone with the Ren is A route. So if it's not Ezra, I think it's got to be Ren. But I've read some really, really, really compelling Ezra is A stories, or theories. And I have my own theories out there, but I mean, there are more compelling ones than my theory video, let me tell you. Okay, Molly says, did I know the movie Shutter Island with Leo DiCaprio? Yes, I think I've seen that. What if the show is similar to that movie, and Arya is involved and she has a mental issue and doesn't know what she's doing these A things? Completely, Molly. I think that is absolutely what is going on with Arya. I think they're letting us know by the fact that she doesn't remember taking the doll pictures, and she doesn't remember that conversation about the contest or whatever that her and Clark were having, that she doesn't remember things. So she's going through life and doing things and doesn't even remember. So who's to say she's not doing bad things, like A things, and she doesn't even know? Nad would hate if Leslie was A. I would completely hate that as well. I think that would be such a cop-out on the show's part, and I would not be happy at all with the show. Megan thinks that Ren killed Marion, very likely, because he definitely worked in Radley. Alicia says if A was a girl, why would Marlene still say Charles is A? Well, because someone could be posing as Charles, I guess, and be a girl, but not actually be the Charles who once lived but is now dead. But I really don't think that's what it is, but who knows. Ellie's asking about the barrel from season 5. It was annoying that it was never brought up again. She thought Hetty Lamb was in there, which would suck, but it made sense. I really think they've dropped, he disappeared, right? So it made sense that he was in there. But thank you, Hannah. Sparkly pink nails. Yeah, but it made sense because he's disappeared. But you know who he met, like, right before he disappeared? He had, like, a meeting with Ezra, so I'm sorry. That is so shady. But, I mean, honestly, that drives me crazy about the barrel thing, but I swear to you they're not going to bring that up again, because they made some kind of statement. I think Tanner made a statement that the DNA was inconclusive to figure out what was in there, so I think we're really never going to know. Although I would love to know, of course. I want them to wrap up all the loose ends, like, there's the bug again, wrap up all the loose ends in the show, but I don't know. Sabrina's asking if Charles could be transgender. I feel like someone in the show tweeted out that that was not the way they were going, because people have asked that a lot. Laura says maybe Leslie was the one who attacked Bethany. They could have hated each other in Radley. Okay, yeah, that's a really good point. I think Leslie is definitely a bully and not a nice girl. Trey says even if Arya has a mental illness, wouldn't you think she would wake up at some point while doing the A things, though? He does hope she's a part of it, but he wouldn't believe the mental thing 100%. Yeah, that's true. She could be doing some stuff and not remember it, and then she does know she's doing some stuff, but she blocks it out. Like, that's the way she deals with it, because she's got mental issues. I don't know. Leah says that doesn't think Leslie is A, uber A, but thinks that she knows who A, Charles, probably is, and she's an A helper. That's what I think. She's somehow, like, on the team or helping out, but she's not big uber A. Abigail says that Arya went to Iceland, or did Arya go to treatment for mental illness as a cover-up? I like that a lot. Very good. Maybe she even went to Iceland for mental treatment, but just never told anyone. So that's really good. Melanie says her friend pointed out that we haven't seen Jenna in a while, which we haven't. Could she be in the barrel? Well, at this point, like, literally anybody who we haven't seen in forever could possibly be in the barrel, but I kind of hope not. I mean, she's not the greatest character, but I hope she's not dead. Hannah doesn't think that Ren's a real doctor. I've seen a lot of theories going around online about that, so I could buy into that. Samuel says when A abducted Mona, she was shocked when she saw their face. If she saw A's face, then she could know who they are. Either they were helping her fake her death, or they were wearing a mask. Okay, yeah, so that's another reason why I think she totally knows who is A, or at least people on the team, because she was so shocked when she saw the face of the person who like kidnapped her, basically. Samuel, that's a really good point. Megan says she heard 6:10 was going to be 2 hours long. Well, that would be awesome. But she says, she was like, yeah, it's going to be an hour show, an hour of commercials. Yeah, you know they will stack the commercials in that. But still, either way, we still get more PLL. So that makes me excited. Ellie says there's been a lot of rumors, and she thinks one of the writers or actors said it. But who do you think the twins are going to be now? Because we know it's not Jason with the twin. I have a lot of different thoughts on this. And sometimes I think that it will be Allie and Hannah because they made so many references about twins and about them looking alike. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were related. But it could just literally be so many people. And we may not even know. Like, we may know one part of a twin, but we don't know their twin. Like, we know half of the twins, but not the other one. So I don't know. Like, there could be, like, an evil twin and a good twin. I think that's kind of how it was in the books, but it was with Allie and an evil twin. So maybe they're going to kind of do that again. I don't know. Megan thinks that Arya's family went to Iceland while Arya went to Radley, and that's why Arya never talked about her trip there, because she never went to Iceland. Okay, yes, and this reminds me of something that you totally should remember too, that Eddie Lamb completely recognized her when she was in Radley that time volunteering, and that would tie all that up. So I think you're right, Megan. I think that she never went to Iceland. I think she went to Radley. I think that completely makes sense. Leah says she would totally be let down if no one or nothing was in the barrel. Exactly. If they never bring it up again, like, I'm just going to be really upset. But you know how this show goes. They drop storylines like all the time. So who knows? Nad thinks that Ren is A because who else would be able to place the trackers in the girls' bodies? Very good point, though, because he does have the medical skills to do that, but maybe some other people who are characters on the show have medical skills that we did not know about, because you just never know about some people's past. Hannah wants to know, why do we think it's Arya's? Spencer is just as crazy with the drugs. Her bet is on Emily because no one would suspect her. Well, I think that Arya, we think she's involved because, unless they're totally trying to trick us, she's just had some really, really, really shady behavior this episode. I did a video before, this season, but I did a video before this season even started about her working with Ezra, so that Ezra could be A. If you want to go back and watch that, there's a lot of different clues before this season that points to her being involved, but it's really crazy. She's really implicated in this season. So Amanda says, who was the baby in that movie? Is it Bethany? I don't know. That's what we don't know. We don't know who that is, quite possibly. And I want to know, like, the girl at the beginning who was doing, like, the crazy possessed modern dance. Who was that supposed to be? Because Spencer was like, oh, she looked like a young Allie. But I didn't really think that because she has dark hair, which Allie's a blonde. So I don't know. I was really confused. Who do you think that's supposed to be? So Karen says maybe Mrs. D was the aunt to the boys and the baby in the video. And maybe she's the sister of Toby's mom. And Toby was one of the boys. Okay. Like, a lot of you have thought this before, and I've read a lot of theories on this, that Mrs. D and Marion are sisters. So I could totally see that. So maybe they're the twins. I think I've heard that before, but maybe that's what it is. So Megan thinks that Arya and Ren are cousins. Maybe Arya's mentally ill Uncle Scott is Ren's father, because she read a very convincing theory about that. That sounds really good. I'm going to have to look for that theory because I don't think I have read that. Nad says the same episode Arya had the scene with Eddie. Didn't we see Leslie? I would have to watch it again. I don't remember, but it's very possible. Shalisa wonders if the writers purposefully made Arya shady, and now your comment just went away. That's what I'm kind of wondering, too, to be honest, because they've read so many Arya is A theories, and Shalisa, that is a really good point, because I have read articles or interviews with people who write for the show, and they really do like to give the fans what they want, so they actually read, like, our theories, and then they incorporate them into the show, so they could just be playing with us. So Trey says perhaps we'll find out more information about Sarah this season. He says her friend Claire, who was in the season a few seasons ago, is back at episode 7. Oh gosh, I'm so sick of these people coming back. This is so crazy to me. Hannah wants some Barjack clues. And now that you bring Barjack up, it's like, yeah, we haven't heard about Barjack. Like, have we heard about him this season? Because I don't think we have. That's annoying to me. Really annoying to me. So Molly says that Leslie was roommates with Bethany at Radley. Bethany was a possible twin of Jason from that picture. in 6-1. So maybe she's trying to avenge Bethany with Charles, who is possibly Bethany's big brother. That sounds like a soap opera, but I do follow it. I don't know. I'm hoping that when they explain everything at the end of this show, the complete end of this show, that it'll really make sense and it won't be super, 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 super confusing. That's what I hope. Cutie Pie says she read somewhere the girl was supposed to be a ghost in Spencer's mind. Yeah, I know it was a dream, but I feel like that girl was supposed to be somebody. I mean, she was obviously like pointing Spencer down to the basement to, I guess, those bathtubs and to look at the files, because that's where they found like Charles's file. I don't know. Megan says she thinks the dream Spencer had was the little girl dancing at Radley was actually Spencer as a kid. Maybe Spencer was a patient at Radley when she was a kid. Ooh, that's really good. I haven't thought about that. I like that. Karen says that Mike's a werewolf in Teen Wolf, so he probably won't be in PLL much anymore. Yeah, I think that totally explains where he's been lately. I don't think he's on the A-team. They totally try to make us think that. They're always trying to make us think that these characters are bad people. It's really exhausting. But you know how it is. Nad wants to ask about Caleb. I was surprised that, I guess I didn't realize he had a company, and I didn't realize he had the money to like hire people, but he hired Sarah, so he was kind of being like the perfect guy again in this episode, so I don't know. Hannah says the girl looked like Samara, I think, from The Ring. She did, especially when she had like the long hair like in her face when she was dancing, and she was contorting her body in like super weird ways, like I said on Twitter, like she was like a possessed modern dancer. So totally. Sabrina says she thinks it's weird how she didn't talk about seeing Charles's shoes. Yes, but what I wanted to point out about that, they were like, you know, like slippers, like the Adidas slippers, but it said C. De Laurentiis. So I mean, sometimes I think that CC is also perhaps a De Laurentiis. So maybe they were CC's. Maybe the girl was CC with darker hair. I really don't know. Yeah, but she didn't really talk about that. So that seemed like something she would talk about, don't you think? Trey says the break between 6A and 6B will be longer due to the fact there was no Halloween Christmas special this season. And I actually didn't know that, Trey, and that makes me sad because I always look forward to either a Halloween or a Christmas or both, you know? So it does make me sad. Amanda says that Ezra called Allie Holly, but when Emily brought up Varjak, he said he never heard of it. Hello, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Yeah, there's so many Breakfast at Tiffany's references. Obviously, Varjak is a reference to Breakfast at Tiffany's, so there's a lot of that in this show. Amir says Spencer was a patient when she was a kid. Amira knows all the good stuff about this. She knew Charles. That's why she said he felt like a cousin in episode 1. Are you reading some spoiler sites, Amir? The Young Dancers from the Sia video. Okay, I love. I know what you're talking about now. I can't think of the name of that song. I'm singing it, though. Chandelier. Is that it? Yes. Okay. Ingrid asked if maybe Allie and Cece are twins. I could see that. I thought Cece was older, though. That's the only thing that would stop me, but maybe she's not. Abigail feels like the shoes are somewhat irrelevant because we already know that Charles was in Radley. And he was there until he was 16, so maybe she thought it didn't pertain to anything. Possibly. But they always say, like, nothing is a coincidence in Rosewood. And I always feel like everything they put in all these shows is, like, really thought out and actually means stuff. Like, even the stuff in the background. Because I've read an article with Marlene, you know, when she was talking about how she knows, like, fans will screenshot stuff, they'll zoom in on it, and they'll see stuff in the background. So they like to really put detail in everything, like what's in the picture frames and what's, like, sitting on people's dressers and just absolutely everything. So you really, like, need to pay attention to all the stuff in the background. So Hannah says if the writers keep making everyone look shady, then they're going to have a ton of explaining to do because the show's coming to an end quickly with so many questions to answer. That's what annoys me about this show, like, all the time, because I really feel like at this point, because you guys know we just have one more season after this, and I know there's a 6A and 6B, but still, I feel like it's really not the time to keep bringing new characters in unless they're very, very important to the end of this whole show, and it's just very, very annoying to me, so I feel you on that. Megan says there's a rumor floating around that Spencer was the baby in the video in Charles's vault at the dollhouse. Yes, I've seen that. I don't know. I feel like it's too soon to be able to predict, like, exactly who that baby was. Leah says in the dollhouse, the girls got punished, so they had to stay outside. When they went back in the dollhouse, then A gave them sleeping gas, and when they woke up, they were naked in the blanket, and she's got more to say, so we'll wait for her rest of her comment. Audrey says when Spencer said the little girl looked like Allie, she thought of Sarah because she looks like Allie. And I know that's a good point, Audrey. And I know there's definitely something to the fact that Sarah wanted to chop all her hair off because maybe she doesn't want to look like Allie because maybe she's the twin. I like your thoughts here. There are honestly so many different theories and thoughts that could be real that's why this show, as much as I love it, it drives me completely crazy because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can totally see this person being A. And then I'm like, I'll read another theory and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see that person being A. And I feel like every episode I feel there are new thoughts that I hadn't had before and they totally make sense. And then the next time we see an episode, they won't make sense again. I don't know. So Ingrid says that Ren had a Love Thy Neighbor photo, and in the dollhouse there was a painting of Love Thy Neighbor. Exactly right, and I feel like neighbor was spelled the British way in both, but correct me if I'm wrong, because that would be a definite clue to point to Ren. Molly says she really hopes Marlene does some commentary for the PLL DVD series to explain every episode of all the seasons. She needs to know answers from her about all of the clues. Yes! Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. I would so love that. Love it. That's a great idea, Molly. Hannah says she doesn't think A is a girl because why would A undress the girls? I don't know. You just never know. I mean, I don't know if that counts her out being a girl. I mean, because she could be a girl and be a heterosexual girl and still be so freaking crazy that she does that, but I don't know. Nad thinks that Sarah is really Bethany, which a lot of you think. I'm starting to lean toward that now. Abigail says A would need to undress them to put a chip in them. And we kind of saw them like it looked like they were in the morgue and it looked like they didn't have clothes on, but maybe they had like their underwear on them. And I don't know exactly where. Well, I guess they put the chip in their head. Is that what they did? Is that what he did? It's really creepy. Yeah, we need criminal minds to investigate A. Yes, Abigail, definitely. Audrey thinks it's also so weird that Allie and Sarah have not met. I see some of you are writing me on Twitter right now, and I will get to that after the show is over. So Leah says that might be a good time to put a chip in them if they supposedly break out of the dollhouse. Then A will know where they are at all times. Yes, I completely understand his motivation for wanting to chip the girls, but that doesn't take away like how crazy and creepy and freaky that completely is. So Kay says she just got here. Hey Kay, thank you so much for joining us. Asking if we discussed that Leslie and Bethany were roommates. We did. Would that rule out the theories for Sarah being Bethany unless they're working together? Well, I don't know. That's a good question. But how do you know that Sarah's still not Bethany if Bethany and Leslie were roommates? Like, how do we know that they're not, you know? Ellie says if Ren was Charles and what on earth is with the British accents? Well, because possibly he was either, at some point he did have to, maybe someone adopted him in England, or he wanted to get a British accent to, you know, really make himself look like a different person, you know? That's kind of what I think. And this is maybe Ren spent a lot of time with Dr. Palmer to get that British accent. Yeah, or maybe she adopted him or something. I don't know. Kay says she thinks he put the chip in their neck. Oh, okay. Very good point, because Emily said her neck was tender. Maybe that's why. I like it. Yes, I did see the promo for next week, Nad. Megan says the toy train that Ezra and Malcolm were playing with was in the dollhouse. Oh my gosh, was that the toy train that had the CD initials on it? Because I remember that from the dollhouse. That is so crazy. Trey says he thinks the trackers are in the neck because Emily mentioned, yes, something about her neck being sensitive. So yes, that's totally it, in their neck. Ingrid says Mona, Leslie, and Sarah are working together. I feel like that is definitely quite possible. Ellie thinks it's a little suspicious how all the girls, apart from Sarah, are chipped, as we didn't see her on the tracking screen A was watching last week. I think that's really weird. Of course, we're supposed to believe that she came to the dollhouse like way before the girls, but why didn't A chip her? Like, why does he not want to know where she's going if she escaped? Leah's asking if Bethany and Leslie are roommates, and what about Big Rhonda? I don't know, because she said she was Bethany's roommate, right? Maybe Leslie got moved or something, so Bethany was the roommate for a while. Alicia says the promo made her laugh when Spencer got Hannah. I guess when Hannah's like head/neck was like beeping and stuff and she was moving around, that was really funny. Audrey says maybe Leslie helped Bethany fake her death. Yeah, I could definitely believe that. Abigail's asking who is Big Rhonda. She was like another Radley patient that I feel like maybe she was in last season, and Arya kind of had some interactions with her, and she said she used to be Bethany's roommate. because she got really mad at Aria because she thought she was like trying to take Bethany's old spot or her drawings or something. Yes, very good. Season 5. Thank you, Audrey. So Megan says it wasn't the train with the CD initials. It was in the dollhouse game room. Oh, okay. I think you're talking about the train on the track. Yeah, okay. I remember that from the dollhouse, but I actually do not remember that from Malcolm and Ezra. But that's really good. If they're exactly the same, that's a really good catch. Ingrid thinks that Sarah is on the A team. I can totally believe that. Sabrina totally understands the liars not trusting the police because the police are doing a horrible job finding the kidnapper / A. Right, honestly, I don't think the police are even trying because they're so corrupt. They're probably being paid off by A, or somebody on the police forces on the A team. You know how it is. And Kay says because since Sarah and the girls were all over the news, she feels like Leslie would recognize her, like how Clark recognized Aria and Sarah and also said she was on the news when they described her. Yeah, okay. That is true. I didn't think about it that way, so that's a good point, Kay. Megan asked if the girls are going to find A's lair in the next episode. Was that in the promo? I can't remember that. And do you guys know why they're taking off next week? Because I feel like if they took off any weeks, it would be like this week because it's coming up on 4th of July. But it makes me really sad, but I don't know. What else do we need to talk about? Let's see if I made a little list here, but I feel like we've talked about all of the things on my list. So we have, over about 13 minutes left in this chat. So we still have time for your theories or comments or questions. But while we have a little break here, if you haven't subscribed to me, please subscribe because I have a recap coming tomorrow about this episode with all of my thoughts in order of how they happened. And please follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I will follow back any PLL accounts on Twitter. So thanks for being part of my little PLL family. So Karen says, going back to the name meanings thing, Ren's name means ruler, so maybe it shows that he's big A or uber A. Yeah, I've heard that before, and I think that's definitely a possibility. Nikki is here, and she's late, but that's totally okay. Thank you so much for being here, Nikki. Nat says, why does Allie have so boring of a storyline? Doesn't she owe the girls answers? Yeah, and you know what? I said this, I think, in the last chat. But it bothers me that she's like so trying to protect Charles and she didn't want Hannah to dig up his grave. And I'm like, hey, he tried to kill you when you were younger. Like, you're lucky to be alive. I think you should dig this up and find out that there's nothing there. Kay agrees. They should be asking Allie questions. Abigail says Allie already gave the girls answers at the end of season 4 in Ezra's theater. Yeah, but don't you think she should give more answers? Like, she could say more things about... I feel like we don't really know what happened, all the stuff that happened that night. I mean, I feel like we know some, but maybe not. All right. Shalisa says, it's interesting that A was making that wig with pink streaks. Didn't Jason really like Aria's pink streaks? That's an interesting point. I mean, I think that, didn't Aria have that hair when she came back from Iceland, right? So that was like her goth stage. So I'm sure that means something, but like when A was like brushing the doll's hair and stuff, I was totally thinking, this has to be a guy. Like, I just don't see that being a girl. I could be wrong though. Nikki says she thinks they're skipping next week because something in this episode was important, so they want to give us a week to figure it out, or next episode will be really big. Well, I definitely hope that the last part of your statement is true. I hope that something huge is going to happen in next week's episode because we have to wait so long to see it, so I really, really hope so. Ellie says one of the episodes coming up is apparently going to be called Brother, Where Art Thou?, which is a line from the Odyssey by Homer in which the protagonist fakes their death, maybe parallel to Charles. Very good, Ellie. I totally like that, and I think that's totally true. Nad says Allie can be lying about that night. Yes, I think it's still hard to completely 100% trust her. Nikki's asking if anyone saw the PLL Snapchat. That was super funny. No, because I'm still not really on there. Like, I signed up, but I haven't done anything with it, so I totally missed that. Karen thinks that A is a girl because she can cut hair well, like Aria's hair. And we know that Cece was a stylist. Now, that is a really good comment. But perhaps Cece is a helper to A, and she was the one cutting the girl's hair, but she's not uber A. I don't know. Amanda hopes that Allie and the cop get serious. Hopes that Allie and Lorenzo get serious. Well, he seems like a good guy. I surely hope that he's not, like, tricking her and he's working for the A-team, but I don't know. So Lee says, in Season 5, Episode 25, the girls were playing that game where they had to pick the prom dates, and they were Ezra, Caleb, Toby, and Paige. Were they all supposed to come to the dollhouse then? I don't know. So maybe he was going to go kidnap the rest of those people? I really don't know. That's interesting. Abigail says that Sarah could have cut Arya's hair. Ooh, that's great because she cut her own hair, so she's got experience with that. Ingrid hopes that A is a girl. Abigail says she thought she cut her own hair but forgot that, so Emily's mom cut Sarah's hair. Oh, well, not as compelling now. Kay says it sucks. We're halfway through and it doesn't feel like we have much answers. We waited for so long. I know. And that's kind of what I've been saying, but I just hope that they will surprise us. And like when Charles is unmasked, like it'll be worth our wait, and like we're going to get all kinds of answers. That's kind of what I hope. Samuel says it's strange that before A was hunting down Allie, but now he's back and he's lost interest in her. You're completely right. He doesn't seem to bother her at all. It looks like A might be more focusing on Arya, his new doll with the tennis ball wearing a wig. Ingrid says Uber A is a boy. Do we know, though? I mean, how do we know who is a boy and who is a girl yet? But Samuel, that was a really good point. I like that. Nikki says that Sarah keeps on taking showers because she's really texting Charles and giving him an update. That's exactly what I think. I think that's why she's always in the bathroom with the shower on. Maybe she's even on the phone talking because the shower is like masking her voice. I think that's really shady. I completely agree. Anna says the official synopsis for episode 7 seems to give away a huge spoiler about Charles, so I'm going to go look at that after the show, but you guys don't have to because I know some people don't like spoilers. Nikki is super sick of new characters. I'm with you, girl. I talked about that at the start of this chat. Over it. Tara says when Spencer was figuring out the name Charles with the blocks, if you notice, there was a little red car next to the blocks, and Cece had a red car. Wow, Tara, that's a really good clue that I had not caught and I had not heard of. I really like that. So Nad says, wants to know the deal with Spencer's dad. He's shady. We know that. He's so shady. There's probably a lot going on with him that we don't know yet. So yeah, I completely don't trust him. So I'm just hoping that in 2 weeks that we're going to have a really, 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 really awesome episode with some answers of some sort. Jade is asking if I saw the head move to look at Arya while she was photographing the dolls. Was that kind of in the mirror? And I forgot to mention to you guys that, you know, we keep seeing this season, and we've seen it before with Arya, but especially this season, she's having these weird moments where she looks at herself in the mirror like she doesn't recognize herself, and that happened again in this episode, and that really completely creeped me out. Leah is saying, what was wrong with Kenneth in this episode? A father-daughter fight or shadiness? I don't know. I mean, you could explain it by saying he's being overprotective because she's been through a lot of crazy crap, and he doesn't want her to get in more crap, you know, basically, but he was really out of control. Abigail's saying there's an episode airing on July 7th. Is there? Because I thought last night they were saying it wasn't until the 14th. I don't know. Did I miss something? Nikki says she thinks they're adding new characters to distract us from something else we are not catching. I completely agree with you. And then they want to try to make us think the new characters are bad people. So, yeah, I believe you. Molly wants more answers from Melissa and wonders when Jenna talked to Emily a few seasons back if she was referring to Paige or Landon or someone else that she should be careful about who she is around. Megan would like if Emily's dad came to visit her this season. Ingrid says Season 6, Episode 7 says Charles comes home for his birthday. Ooh, okay. So he's not dead. I didn't think he was dead, but anyway. Kay was wondering why Arya seemed so upset when Clark took a picture of her. I don't know. Couldn't figure that out either. All very, very weird. Samuel says when Hannah and Mona got their makeovers, Mona got the number from Allie when she asked to be popular, but also to thank her for helping her leave. A probably is someone close to Allie like Cece. I think Cece is definitely on the A team. Nikki saw the doll moving. It's rumored that there is a camera in the doll. Oh, yeah. Because I think last episode she was looking at that one doll and taking pictures, and it was being really weird. And I'm pretty sure there's like a camera in its eyes. Pretty sure. Amy thinks that Mr. Hastings is Charles's father, which is that Spencer's dad. I can totally see that being true. 100%. Sabrina's asking, will we have a live chat next week? It's up to you guys. Do you guys want to have one? I may be going out of town next week now that I know that we're not having a PLL episode, but if I'm not, then we can totally do one. So I'll let you guys know on Twitter, and you let me know if you want to have one, even though there's no new episode. Bella says that IMDb shows Cece's character as being in Game Over Charles, but her name is now gone, but her name is still at the bottom for her stunt double. So, oh, she thinks that Cece is Courtney in the books. Courtney was Allie's twin who was evil. Very good. Very interesting. Yeah, I could totally see them still going with the books like they said they wouldn't, because they went with the Mona thing from the books that they said they wouldn't do. Sand is from Germany. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you like the chats, and thanks for being here. Nad says, didn't we have a Connor already? The guy in England? Yeah, I think he was the guy that was living with Melissa and Ren. Yes, I think so. Everybody, it seems like people want me to have a chat. So what I will do, I will let you guys know for sure on Twitter, but if I am not out of town next Wednesday, we will still have the chat. We'll try to make that happen. Shalisa, thank you for loving my look today. I appreciate it. You don't have a Twitter? If you have Facebook, or I can probably put it on Instagram. I wish there was like a messaging system on YouTube. They totally need that, like just a way to announce things about channels, you know. But I will try to put it on all my social media. And even if you don't have a Twitter, you can search on Twitter, like you can just Google Kelly_TV. That's also in the description box. And then you can just look at my Twitter. It doesn't mean you have to sign up or follow me, and it'll have my latest tweet. So I don't tweet a ton unless an episode is on. So I will let you know probably Monday, if that's okay. So IMDb, according to Audrey, showed Ren's name at one point as being part of the cast list for the mid-season finale. But is that gone now? Oh my gosh. I haven't seen him in so long. I mean, we need to see him. Oh, Abigail says that Mike is going to be in episode 7. Like, I totally need to go to IMDb PLL page, obviously, because there's a lot of good information there. Nikki thinks that Hannah is adopted because she looks nothing like her parents. True. And she's heard theories that Hannah has a twin because she's always the one looking at twins. I know, and there's all that twin stuff circulating around her completely. She thinks that if Hannah has a twin, that maybe a transgender. Is that what you're saying? But then they said they weren't going to do the transgender thing. So I don't know. Alicia says the live chat's for her at 11 p.m. Are you in England or in that area? And I'm sorry because I know that's late. Connor was the guy who called Arya a slut. Oh my gosh. Now who is Connor? He wasn't the guy that was in... Was he not the guy in England at the flat? Or was that somebody else? This is so confusing, guys. There are so many different characters. I can't take it. Abigail says Mama D is also going to be in episode 7. Ooh, awesome. So do we think we can we really, like, go with what IMDb is saying, or can just regular people edit that? That's not like Wiki, right? Can regular people edit that? So Nikki says if Leslie was in Radley for a while, that means she may have been in Rosewood since the beginning. But she is not A because that's too obvious. Let's hope she's not A, because that would freak me out if she ends up being A. Like, I don't want that. And that wouldn't even freak me out. It would make me angry because we just met her, like, last season. So that is beyond ridiculous. She's definitely got some secrets. I think she's part of the A team. So Kay says if Hannah was adopted or her father wasn't her father, it would make sense because her dad is a horrible father. Yeah, he is a horrible father. Completely. Whereas Tanner, I don't know. Okay, there's a spoiler on here from the books. I've mentioned some before, like on Twitter and stuff, and people got mad at me, so I won't mention it. But I don't know if I even realized that. Thank you, Bella, though. I appreciate that. Connor played lacrosse with Mike. Okay, this is all coming back to me. Thank you, Deja. Good to see you. Emma says the guy in England was Colin. Okay, so it was close. Connor, you know. Connor was on Mike's lacrosse team and claimed he slept with Arya when they were studying together. Thank you, Nikki. I totally remember that. All right, so it is sadly about time for us to go. And thank you guys so much for being here. It's always so much fun. I love chatting with you guys, you know. And I will try to have another live chat next week, even though there's no episode. Again, follow me on Twitter if you have a Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, Google Kelly_TV Twitter. That's kind of where I'll keep all the updates because that's the easiest place to do them. So apparently everyone can edit IMDb. So Larissa, I really have no faith in that now. So they could say that, you know, Cookie Monster is going to be in the next episode, and that's not true, you know? Let's see, one more question. What do I think the young girl at the beginning had to do with? I don't know, Jade. I just think that she's a younger version of someone, and I don't know who, and I don't think she's Allie, though. Spencer thought she was Allie, but she has dark hair, and I think that's important. So I want to say bye to you guys because it is 7 o'clock here, and I really, love you guys and appreciate you always showing up to these chats and talking to me. Like, really makes my week. So follow me on Twitter or find a way to look at my Twitter so you know what's going on. A recap about last night's episode will be up tomorrow. So if you're not subscribed, do that so you don't miss that recap. All right, thanks so much again, and you guys have a great day or night or good night to some of you who have to go to bed. Bye, guys.